Hi, Libra. Welcome to your December reading. Thank you for your patience. So here we are. We have, you know how just nothing is working right now? Like, you have to put work into everything that you try to do. Like, it's very weird how there's so much stuff that used to be seamless and it's just not seamless anymore. I don't know if that's just me or if you guys are all going through that as well. The Sun and Mercury are in our communications house. And I think that boost of fire energy right now is making like technology, just everything just sort of feels out of whack. Communication feels weird. I've just felt like my brain has been fried for months, or like for a couple months now. That the solar eclipse that we had also in our communication sector is really taught us how to communicate, or where we weren't communicating effectively. Some of us really needed to have some the phrase come to Jesus moments with ourselves, right? We really had to look at our own intentions and like, are we going in the direction that we really want to go in? Is this utilizing my purpose correctly? During this time, before we get to Capricorn season, journaling would be really good. Mars is going to be moving into this house as well. So if you feel like you need to travel or, just get out of town for a couple of days, maybe do something like that. The holidays can be stressful. So giving yourself the opportunity to relax, decompress, breathe as often as you can, that's probably going to be a really good thing for you. Venus is going retrograde in Capricorn. Excuse me. Venus is going retrograde in Capricorn on the 19th in our sector of home and family. Your family life is going to be highlighted in ways where this Venus retrograde is showing us where we need to have boundaries, where we need to like reassess the relationships that we have with other people, the relationships that we have with our job, the relationship that we have with money, and the relationship that we have with ourself. And looking at all of these things, this is giving you an opportunity to say, am I happy? Am I happy in this space? Being in the fourth house, retrograding in your fourth house, there is a lot of focus on the nurturing as a child. Like, how were you nurtured as a child? Were you nurtured in the way that you needed to be nurtured as a child? And if that wasn't the case, it feels like we're sort of reparenting ourselves. We're finding out ways to reparent ourselves and re-nurture ourselves, because it's hard to function when you don't feel good. It's hard to function when you don't feel safe, right? So this is a really good time to allow those memories of the past, your childhood, maybe it could have something to do with your mother or a mother figure, and allow yourself to reset, reassess, reparent, change the narrative so that you can heal. That's what this Venus retrograde is going to be about. Be careful with any like big money purchases. If you are planning on buying a house or you're wanting to move and rent a house, if possible, maybe wait until after the retrograde on January 29th. If it's not possible, if you have to do that right now, totally understood, like, don't stop your life just because there's a retrograde. That's silly. But just be discerning, be really discerning. Make sure that you are dotting all of your I's, crossing all of your T's, reading all of the fine print. You just don't want to find yourself. This is going to be like an 18-month cycle. Venus doesn't retrograde. She retrogrades every 18 months, right? So this is going to be one of those cycles that If you are not doing things like step by step, if you're skipping steps, if you're trying to get stuff quicker than it's supposed to be here, then you might have some bumps along the way, or something down the road could go wrong because you didn't do it properly the first time. That's how retrogrades go. That's what happens. And the other big news is Jupiter is moving into Pisces, is ingressing to Pisces for the second time this year. The first time Jupiter was in Pisces this year was in May until July. Jupiter is at home in Pisces. And with Jupiter in Pisces, we're really learning how to have boundaries while we expand ourselves. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and Pisces is the sign with very little boundaries. They always have to work very hard in life to have boundaries against other people, because people will project onto them. While Jupiter was in Pisces earlier this year, you sort of got a taste or sort of got an idea of what Jupiter wants to do to expand your life. But that was probably a time where you had to clean some things up first, because before Jupiter can expand your life and bring in the growth, we've got to make room for that. So clearing out all of the junk and all of that stuff, this is going to be happening in your house of day-to-day activities, your house of routines, your house of health. And I noticed, being a Libra rising, when I went through my blood clot earlier this year, it was during the Jupiter in Pisces ingress. And so the expansion on my health was extremely apparent, what I had to pay attention to. And so now, as I'm coming back to that time, I want you to think about where you were, like, mid to end of April, right? Or right at the beginning of May, kind of, that's where Jupiter is again. And if you're kind of seeing a pattern where you're moving forward into another, it's like you're leveling up. It looks a little bit similar, but it doesn't look exactly the way that it did back then, because you have grown, you've progressed, and you've leveled up since May. And now we're going to have 3 different stints of Jupiter being in Pisces. In the one earlier this year, Jupiter will be there until May of 2022, and then ingress to Aries for a few months, and then go back into Pisces from October to December. So we have all of this opportunity to change our health routines, like breaking the bad habits. I noticed that a lot of bad habits that I had came back during Jupiter in Pisces earlier this year. And then now I know what not to do, basically. So think about that. This is the reason why we can, look back on we can do the hindsight is 2020. Like, wow, that is really something that I need to pay attention to. And to me, it's a blessing. I know that a lot of people are like, I don't want to have to go back and, look at all of that stuff and see all of my misgivings and, the way that I fall apart and all of that stuff. So, but Jupiter is helping us to find abundance within our health and within our daily routines. It might be a really good time for you to even start a ritual. If you've been wanting to write a book, this would be a really good time to do that as well. If you want to change careers, Jupiter in Pisces is going to be a perfect time for you to do that. So 2022 is going to look really, it's going to be good if you are allowing yourself to make the space for it. I promise. All right, guys. Libra, let's look at your cards. Ooh, all right. I know, man. Okay. Queen of Cups was the first card that came out. Then we have the Devil, but I wanted to call him Saturn. Saturn is in Aquarius in our 5th house. And then we have the 8 of Cups. There's some kind of, this might be that Venus in Capricorn lesson where, you're coming out quite intuitive in December. And having the Queen of Cups come out with this 8 of Cups here, intuitively, one of the lessons is there's something that you are working on leaving behind. That Eight of Cups is walking away from things that you were once emotionally invested in, and you can no longer be invested in those things because now they're just holding you back. That doesn't mean that those things are going to go away forever. That, you know, you could be coming back and revisiting them. That's the beauty of life. We get to allow ourselves to grow and then, you know, see how far we've come too by revisiting. We have the Empress. She's been showing up quite a bit. The Six of Wands, the Eight of Swords, and the Lovers. Okay. There's a victory and newness. You could be dealing with a Capricorn energy, a Taurus energy, or a Gemini energy, or all of them. Who knows? But there's some sort of victory when it comes to this emotional release is the only way that I can put that. There is a sense of understanding how far you've come from that. There's a sense of I mean, we can use the word pride, but I don't even think that can describe it. You've come a long way, right? And you're recognizing that. And I think that it's making you a little bit emotional to see how far you've come and to see the creations you've made and the work that you've done and all of that. Eight of Swords with the Lovers down here. I want to talk about this. The Eight of Swords is a self-imposed imprisonment of the mind. And then we have the Lovers. And really, the Lovers isn't just about being in a relationship with somebody else where you have a very strong connection with. Yes, it could be that. And some of you may be like, wow, I wonder if I'm ever going to be loved. I wonder if I'm ever going to be in that kind of relationship that I can trust and feel safe and yada, yada, yada. And all I can say is the more you allow yourself to integrate these two energies, the masculine and the feminine, like don't always be in your masculine. You can be soft sometimes. You don't always have to be soft. You can also be very logical and focused and determined as well. The more you allow yourself to integrate both energies, the vulnerability with the logical, the heart and the mind. That's what Sagittarius season is all about. Expanding ourselves past one part so that we can see the entirety of ourselves, right? Instead of just listening to one part of ourselves. Your intuition is so strong that you might be extra sensitive during December, but it's all in an effort. Like, this is amazing. I love this part. That Six of Wands, that victory. There's some kind of celebration that you're headed for, and I feel like it's just the beginning with the Empress here. But I also don't feel like it's too far off. So, when you are in this stage, one of the biggest things that I have learned on my journey is that when I create expectations out of any given situation, any person, any moment in my life, I'm usually pretty disappointed. So, and that's because all of my expectations used to be so much bigger, like, or not even, I don't even want to say bigger. They were just impossible. Even for myself, I couldn't even live up to my own expectations. They were so damn high. And allowing yourself to detach from any kind of outcome, right? Like I said, this Eight of Cups is not about leaving everything. You're not ghosting anyone. Like that's not what this is, right? That's not what the intention is. the intention, just like I told Virgo, self-preservation, right? That 8 of Cups. You have to be willing to detach yourself from any given expectation, any moment, situation, person. And that's where, because the expectations and the attachment, that's where the suffering is. And so once we release that, that's where we can be free, right? With the 6 of Wands. So we will clarify all of this in the extended. I'm really excited to do that. You can get that a couple of ways. All of the information is in the description box. You can become a member, or you can head over to Vimeo and get the reading there. Also, all of my readings are 50% off except for 2. The Venus retrograde reading and the 1 question reading are not 50% off. But if you use the code HOLIDAY22 until December 12th, all of my readings will be 50% off. You can even get appointments in December. So I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I will see you in the extended. Bye.